Hi guys, unfortunately Lucky here. I'm going to be teaching you guys how to troubleshoot your Minecraft plugin, assuming that you guys have already watched this video by Verividev. I notice a lot of the comments say that it doesn't work for them, but I've had similar issues and I managed to troubleshoot it to the point that it works on my server. This is the server I host. You just I changed the command, but trust me, it's the same command. Now the first thing I want you guys to do is I want you to add on to your public void on enable get logger parentheses .info HelloWorld is now enabled or something along the lines. I also want you guys to add this part. He doesn't add it in his video, but it's very helpful to keep an eye on when your plugin is enabled and disabled on the console. It's just one of those small things that can help you troubleshoot. So my goal here is to teach you guys what I spent about 4, maybe 5 days trying to fix. So yeah, I mean, I'm just here to help you guys fix issues that I spent days working on. So you may also notice that I created my project. I'm using Java. I'm using the runtime. I'm using 13. I just need to say I'm using 13. I already added the Spigot reference library. Remember that you need build tools in order for this to work. And we're just going to start coding. I should mention that I also have a small list of all the errors that I ran into. These errors are here, and I added plugins, well, not plugins, but I added how I fixed them and such. Like for example, Java Development Kit version 13 and 14 and 12 will not work, but if I'm correct, you can do 8, 9, 10, and 11, but most servers only use 8. Spigot API not defined. You just have to define it. Null exception point at hello command Java 17. You have to register the command and plugin. Plugin not found. You need to make sure that it's in the right place and has to require text. Private main plugin not used. You have to suppress the warning. Public boolean on command error. This is what has given me the most issue. I spent like 2 days working on this alone. And I'm still not entirely sure how I fixed it. But if I'm correct, you have to import the package into the parent. But don't quote me on that. Keep in mind that I am not I've done Java programming for quite a while, but I am not the expert. I am just here teaching you guys what I have learned. Alright, so once you're done, oh, by the way, you might want to change your package presentation to hierarchical instead of flat. Once you're done, you should have something looking like this. I don't know why plugins is in here. It shouldn't be in here. But we're going to leave it there for the sake of getting the error so I can show you how to fix it. Now, there are obviously multiple errors with this code. I don't know if you can see them or not. Alright, so let's go ahead and say that you already have some code and it looks like this. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure or recall what caused the issue right here. But, yeah, if someone can recreate, if you guys end up having an error, I think it's just because I imported HelloWorld main alongside something else, maybe, I'm not sure. But you should have code that looks like this. Of course, you can always change like the send message, or if you want, you can change the permission, get command, and all that. Now, you might notice that I have a hello command cannot be resolved to a type. If you do Control Shift and O, it'll go ahead and import it. Turns out you need to import the child package, which would be command, to the parent package, which would be hello world. I did not think this was actually necessary because, I mean, it's a package inside of the package. Why would you need to import the package inside of it to use it any other outside? Like, if it's all in the same package, I don't think you'd need to do that, but I guess you do. So we do on disable just so we can see when it's disabled, when it's enabled, and this is just good for when we open up the console and we're looking at all the errors. We can see what happened and what's the outcome of it. Now this is my other server, but we're gonna go ahead and run this. But I just remembered I need to change the port. Oh my god. Okay, very simple change, but that should allow it to work now. Let me just open up this as well, just to make sure that nothing happens. You'll also notice that the server is using Java 11. Now, most servers, like I said, use Java 8, but we're using the latest, so I mean, it's whatever. Like, if you're running a Windows server, then chances are it'll be using Java 8. That means that we can use Java versions 8, 9, and 10, if I'm correct, but we cannot use 12 or 13. So I'm just going to make sure that nothing bad happens to this server. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and have that run. So yeah, so here's the code. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that's how I fixed that issue. You might have an issue where it says private main plugin is not used, even though you end up using it. You just want to suppress the warning unused. Now, there are a few more errors, but of course we'll go through that. And our plugin.yml probably looks like this, the 3 required things. Version 1.0, where the main package is, or the main class file is, and where the name of the program. We're going to go ahead and export it. And, yeah, I already have a copy of it. And then we're going to go ahead and upload this to our server. Alright, so we drag and dropped HelloWorld.jar into the folder of our server. We're going to go ahead and reload the server. It's going to take a hot second. And we're just going to be on the lookout for any errors. Yeah, so that's just a warning because reloading the server is not always the safest thing to do, or the best idea. And we got an error, what do you know? Invalid Plugin.yml. So we're going to look through and we're going to see invalid description exception. If we scroll down, jar does not contain plugin.yml. Alright, so that's our issue. File not found exception. It's a 404 issue. Now, you may notice that our plugin.yml is inside our HelloWorld. So why isn't this working? Well, that's because it's not supposed to be in the HelloWorld package. It's supposed to be in the source package. So simply moving it there, and then recompiling it into a jar file, that will fix that issue. We can go ahead and overwrite because, well, I mean, it doesn't really matter. We can overwrite it. It's broken code. So we re-uploaded it. We're going to go ahead and overwrite the one in here. We're going to reload the server yet again. Oh, and by the way, I'm using Bucket 267 on this. I highly recommend Bucket. It's very good for low-cost servers like Raspberry Pis, where you need to save a lot of your resources. It's by far one that works the best, and of course you should always be sure to update as well. I also used the 64-bit beta version of Raspbian, or Raspberry OS. Honestly, I like the old name better. But this is not really a tutorial here to teach you how to use Raspberry Pi for servers. But you'll be surprised at just how good a 64-bit is much better at running a server. Like, I used to only be able to hold like 3 people and have low TPS, while this one can hold like 8, I think. Alright, could not load, invalid plugin exception, unsupported class version error. Been compiled by a more recent version of the Java runtime. Now, what is caused by this? It's because we are using the JRE system library 13. What we're going to have to do is go into properties, and we're going to have to select this, or wait, no. What did I change again? You're going to right-click on the JRE system library, click on the execution environment, and change it to 11. Now, we're going to have to recompile yet again. Now, obviously, you can fix all of these issues at one time. You don't need to constantly recompile it. but I'm going through them one by one for the sake of the video. So now we have that recompiled, we're going to have to upload it yet again. Reload the server. It's going to take its sweet time, and we got another error. And the TPS, wait, how's my other server doing? Okay, the other server's doing just fine. We got another error, great. Is it up to date? NullPointerException null. This is what we're looking at. Now where is this caused? Hello command.java 17. Let's go ahead and check that out. Line 17, plugin get command set executor this. So the idea of this line right here is so the player can do /hello to run the command. But obviously it's not working because here we are. So what is wrong with this? Well, that's where we need to go ahead and check out the Plugin.yml on Spigot. The required attributes are the main, where we talk about where the main class file is, the name of the plugin, and the version of the plugin. By the way, just a small note, it's usually written in major, minor, and .patch. Minecraft is 1.16.4, so if 1.16 is considered a minor update, then what the hell is a major update? What the hell are we gonna expect? Because I remember they added brutes, they fixed the piglins, or the piglins with the minor patches because there was like a duplication glitch and stuff like that. Now optional attributes, a description. I don't see why. I mean, you should always add a description. Come on. API version, which we'll get to later. Load, which will tell you when to load which will tell the program when to load the plugin. You can do it on startup, or you can do it after the world has generated. But unless you really need it, you can just leave it blank. If not supplied, the default will be to post world. Okay. And it doesn't really matter to us. The website, I don't have a website, I don't care to add one. Prefix, soft depend, load before, commands. So in commands, we can do a handful of things. We can register the command. The command should not contain the leading / required to issue a command. If we scroll all the way down, we can see an example where they use all of the stuff they use. So we want to do commands. And then if I check again, we can do hello. And if we want, we can always add more stuff to it, but if I'm correct, you can just leave it at that if you want. And then description, aliases if you want, permission. We'll go ahead and add a description. I always think it's a good idea. There we go. And that way it's registered. The reason why we get the null is because it's trying to get a command, and because it's not registered, it returns null. And that's why we get the null error. Simple enough. Export it, jar file, HelloWorld, finish, save that, overwrite, and re-upload yet again. We're going to reload the server, let it do its thing, take a quick bite of my yakisoba, and we get yet another error. Could not load, InvalidDescriptionException. This one is a bit fuzzy to understand, but long story short, it's reader line 6 column 1, where we have the hello command. What might be the issue, you ask? Well, it took me a while as well, but it's because we did tab. For some reason, when it comes to Plugin.yml, when you add commands, it wants you to do 2 spaces instead of tab. We can actually check this as well, where we do foo, we can see 1 space and 2 space. We don't see a tab. Why on earth do they want you to do that? I have no fucking idea, but it's what they want you to do. And then for description, you'd have to do 3 spaces. If you do 2 spaces, then it would see it as a command. So now we can export it yet again, do the whole thing over, and re-upload. We're reloading the server yet again after doing that small fix. And it's now enabled. Wait, it's now enabled. We're supposed to get another error. Okay, well, I guess I didn't get those errors again, but I was supposed to get another error. One of the errors I encountered was the Spigot API not defined. Now, I highly recommend you add this just to help fix some issues. This might become an issue, but it will usually say in the bucket server or just any other server that you're running, it should say in red like Spigot API not defined. We can go ahead and check this again. The way you would add it is by doing, where the fuck is it? We'd search up API and we do API version 1.16 because that is what we're using. We're using 1.16. Then we can go ahead and just add this right here. Now, one of the other things we can test is doing well. Or wait, no, I forgot. We're doing hello. Only players may execute this command. If we do help hello world, here we go. /hello says hello to a user, and that's the description we set. And if we do /help hello world with multiple commands, it would show what each command does. We can also add a description here if we wanted, but you can do you. Another thing we're gonna go ahead and add is, actually I think that's about it. The up-to-date issue says where it last occurred. I mean, yeah, so that's about it. What you want to do is just make sure that all of your work is in the right spot, like the plugin should be in the source folder and not in your package. So it should look like that. Make sure that you import hello world to your command I mean, package. Make sure that hello command has all the imported packages. I think that was one of the issues I had with public boolean. One of the packages wasn't imported somewhere. What I recommend doing is just going over each of your Java files and doing Control-Shift-O, and that would fix everything, or should fix everything when it comes to importing packages, assuming you did everything right. And the only other thing I would recommend doing is adding permissions. So if you notice, we have if player has permission hello.use. Now, hello.use, how do we use that? Let's go find the Plugin.yml folder. Also, I recommend you check out the Spigot API 1.16.4 snapshot API. You can always check different versions as well, but it has basically everything you can do. Like if we were to search up event consume item or just consume item or something, player item consume event, we can go ahead and pull that up and we can see all the different stuff. Like we can get the item, get handle list, all that. And what does it do? The event, it will fire when a player is finishing consuming an item. So we can have a listener listen for that consume event, and then when a player consumes it, we could do whatever the hell we want, honestly. We could give them a potion effects, we could make it so that way certain things are inedible or have bad effects on them. And yeah. So back to plugin.yml. If we were to check permissions, we can see that the plugin wishes to register. Each node represents a permission to register. Each permission can have multiple attributes. Permission registration is optional, can also be done from code. Permission registration allows you to set descriptions, defaults, and child-parent relationships. So if we go to Eclipse, we can do, if I recall correctly, permissions, and then 2 spaces, hello.use, I think. I always prefer to look at the example. Yeah, so it's 2 spaces for the command, and then 1 space for description. So we can do boom, and then description allows players to do /hello. Save that. We can export, do this one last time, and then upload to the server. We're just going to do this one last time so we can see if it works or not. There we go, works right, and you should see hello world enabling hello world is now enabled. And this is the message that we programmed in on hello command, or no, main, where it says hello world is now enabled. We can change this to say whatever we want. Like, I think World Edit has their own one that does like, it checks the time of how long it took for them to load, which is kind of cool. But since we don't have too much code, we can always load it relatively fast. The only other thing I want to add is just a few things about programming in general. Programming is not as simple as getting A to B. You're going to have to do a lot of troubleshooting, like I had to. I was just trying to make a simple /hello command, and here I was having to add stuff like suppress warnings, had to add the command, permission. Well, permission isn't necessary, but if you have like a permission plugin, then I highly recommend you do it. And you know, you can always add stuff like this. But people usually think that programming is a lot simpler, and they don't really think much about how to do it. One of the things I recommend you do to learn Java programming is to, first off, take Code Academy or something, or if your school has a computer science class, do that. That's how I mainly learned Java myself. It wasn't necessary. Well, I learned Java before I joined computer science, but computer science definitely gave me more of a purpose to learn it. One of the other things I recommend you do is get Java decompiler or decompiler for any other program you want to learn. And for example, like, these are Minecraft plugins, you might notice a few of them. HelloWorld is one that I made, it was just a more customized one. Food and a Half a Heart is something that Dream made. RNG Difficulty is something that Fundy did. The Floor is Lava is something I found. World Edit, OP Mobs, something Dream did. Clear Lag, Chunky, you know, I have like all these different ones, and we can look at them. Alright, back to what I was saying now that the fire truck has passed by. So let's say we want to learn maybe the floor is lava. The floor is lava, it's a somewhat of a long one, but it's whatever. Now, you might not be able to import this into Eclipse, but you can see some of the things like config.yml, start height, border size, and such. We can see command start, we can see metrics, which I don't even want to talk about because command start, you can see that it has the same public boolean checking if the player sent it or not, or if the sender sent it. If the player has permission, starting the floor is lava. And I noticed that apparently this one uses Minecraft's tick per second. Just a small note. But we can go through, and if we want, we can always ask questions like, what does get server do? What does get scheduler do? What did he have to import to make it fill? And we can see here that it's grabbing the dimensions, and then block set type. Where is it? God damn it, I clicked off it. Block set type, the floor is lava.instance.getBlock. So it's checking to see if the get type is air, and if it is air, then it's going to fill it with lava. So you can always go around and ask questions like, what does set type and get type mean? So we can go over here, get type, affect get type, a lot of stuff, but it's block get type that we're looking at. And then we can go ahead and read. if we scroll up, represents a block. This is a live object, and only one block may exist for any given location in a world. And you can go through, you can see all the stuff you can do, all the different things it can be used for, and overall it's just one of the ways I like to learn. Just ask a lot of questions while doing Java programming for like Code Academy, computer science, whatever the hell. And of course, I don't know how long this will work. Like, he says that it still works in 2020 even though it was 3 years ago. Yeah, it does work. You might have to make a few changes, or there might be a few things that he didn't mention. I mean, the only other thing I want to say is just check the comments, because I don't know how long, but I will be keeping an eye on the comments, and I'll try my best to help as many of you as I can. I like to make sure that everyone knows how to program, how to troubleshoot, because troubleshooting is something that I spend a lot of time working on just to get my code to work where it is, and I should not have done that. God damn it. Okay. It's something I spend a lot of time to get my code working, and it can be stressful. That's why I'm here. I want to help you guys. I want to teach you guys how I managed to surpass these, and I want to help you guys get to where you want to be. This is unfortunately lucky. Have a beautiful day.